Okay, before I go into this any further, I want to just give you a general theory of how a slot machine works as far as how it pays out. As you know, there are these three discs. The first disc, or the leftmost disc from the rear of the machine, is connected to reel number 1. The second disc is connected to the center reel, and the innermost disc is connected to reel number 3, which is a third reel that stops. As you notice, there are holes in each one of these discs, and they are at different depths within each disc. And there are also these 5 fingers. Well, if you look at the pay card, there are 5 symbols that pay out. There are cherries, oranges, plums, bells, and bars. So the outermost hole, like this guy right here, that corresponds to cherries. So everywhere there's an outermost hole, when that lines up with the payout fingers, there will be a cherry on the first reel. So if we spin this around, sure enough, there is a cherry right there. So if you look at the next position, the hole is clear down towards the axle. That represents a bar. So if we move the disc down so that hole is lined up with the payout fingers, we should see a bar. And sure enough, that's a bar. The next symbol is a lemon. A lemon has no holes associated with it. So if we move this up a little bit, sure enough, there's the cherry, there's the bar, and then there are no holes. So that is the lemon. The next hole that we see lines up with the second payout finger, which is an orange. So if we move that down, we should see an orange. And sure enough, there's the orange. So, by looking at the holes, you can determine what the symbol should be. Now, when 3 oranges line up, you will have a clear shot all the way through the machine, through the payout discs. And that's what we have right there. So if we move all 3 reels down to the payout fingers, we should either have 3 oranges lined up or 2 oranges and a bar. And sure enough, we have 3 oranges lined up. 1, 2, 3. So you should be able to do that for every single combination. If we look at the third payout finger, which represents plums, we can put it in a screwdriver and we get a hole. And so if we move this down into the payout location, we should see either 2 plums and a bar or 3 plums. And sure enough, there are 3 plums that are lined up. So you can do that for bells. You can do do it for the bars and confirm everything. Now, when you cycle it, if you've done that and everything looks good, but it still doesn't pay out, then you need to check the alignment of the vertical fingers to the holes. And that's what we'll do next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the first position on each tape, and since this is a gold award machine, I'm actually going to start with the second symbol, which is a cherry. Okay, so we see cherry, lemon, lemon. Okay, this is the payout line. So we should see the first payout finger is aligned with this first finger, which represents the cherries. And I'm going to release the clock. And if you notice, this finger went through this first hole, but it didn't go through the second hole because there's not a cherry lined up. So what we'll do is I will manually move the second reel until a cherry shows up. Now we have a cherry. And if we look at the first finger, we will notice that it is going through the second reel, the second payout disc. And actually, it would go through the third payout disc, but it doesn't because the way when you cycle it manually, the slides do not get released unless it's on a payout combination, and that is preventing the finger from going through. But we could actually force it. Or maybe we're not. Okay, we can't force it. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. No, we can't. So, let me back up. Let me show you how to cycle the mechanism so all these slides, all these fingers will operate freely. And the way you do that is you cycle the mech and you put it and you make it so the wheels are free spinning. Okay. So right now the wheels are free spinning. What you want to do is there's a bunch of horizontal fingers down here. And they're all freely movable while the reels are spinning. What you want to do is take your finger and move all those fingers so they're off to the left, which will allow all the slides to come back. That in turn will release these fingers. Okay, so all these horizontal pay fingers are now free. All of the slides here have now receded backwards. The net effect is these fingers are now free to move in any. These fingers are now free to move all the way through. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cycle the mechanism and then stop it when the reels are free spinning. And what I want to do is I want to line up all the first symbols on each tape in the payout position. Actually, in this case, since this is a gold award machine, I'm going to go to the second symbol. Okay? And I'm going to show you a little trick. If you take your fingers down here, you'll see all these vertical payout fingers. I want you to put your finger down there and hold all of them to the far left. And I'll explain why I do that in a few minutes. And then go ahead and let the machine cycle. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to verify that these holes line up with the payout fingers. And they also match what the tapes show. So I'm actually on the second symbol because I didn't start on the first because the first symbol is a gold award. And I'm not going to talk about gold awards because your machine doesn't have a gold award. But, so the first symbol that's on the pay line is a cherry. It's right there. Cherry, bell, gold award. Well, okay, gold award. So that's not a winning combination. But all I care about right now is cherry. So the first finger should have gone through the hole. And in fact, it has. The hole is right there, and this has gone through it. What I want to do now is I want to move the first reel one position. But in order to move it, I need to move this finger out of the hole, because obviously it won't allow me to move it with that finger blocking it. So just take your finger, pull this back, and move it one position. Okay. The payout symbol is a bar. Right here, probably at the top of the screen. And sure enough, this payout finger went into the bar. So then we want to go to the next position. So that symbol is a lemon. A lemon should not allow any payout finger to go in. And sure enough, if we look, there are no holes on the disc. The next symbol is an orange. So we've now got an orange in position number 1, right there, and the second payout finger went into a hole. The second hole, which represents an orange. So we need to do this on every single symbol. The next symbol is a cherry, so this one went in. The next symbol is a bell, so the fourth finger went in, which it did. So we verified that these vertical fingers do in fact go in for the correct symbols. So again, cherry, orange, plum, bell, bar. So the next thing we want to do is we want to line up a cherry. So we've got a cherry, and now we want to move the second reel strip to see if this advances when a cherry is hit, when the second cherry is hit. So the next symbol that's going to come up is a cherry, and sure enough, it advanced. So we'll pull this back. Next one's a plum. It doesn't advance. Next one's an orange. It doesn't advance. The next one is a cherry, so it should advance. And sure enough, it's going through the two discs. The reason I had you hold all these horizontal payout slides when at the end of the mechanism, at the end of the cycle, was to allow them to operate freely. If you don't do that, those won't move at this point, and you won't be able to get the payout fingers through all the holes. So you just do the same thing for the cherries. So let's now verify orange. The way we do that is we move the first reel so that an orange is showing. So we've got an orange. And now we move the second reel till an orange shows up and verify that this second finger goes through that hole. And it did. We've got an orange. We got orange bell. So this finger is going through the first two holes, but not the third one, because the third one's a bell. So we then pull this finger out, go to the next symbol, which is a cherry, and it only goes through the first hole for the first orange. Do the same thing, move it again, plum. It only goes through the first hole. Cherry, only through the first hole. Actually, cherry, the first hole. Now we're at an orange again. It goes through two of them. We've got orange, bell. So that's not a winner. So basically, you just need to do the same thing to verify that this finger goes through two payout holes when you got orange showing. Once you've done that, then you can start moving the third reel, and when the third orange or a bar appears, it'll go through all three. Just like here. Now it's through all three, because we do in fact have orange. When we advance it again, we've now got orange, lemon, so it only goes through the first two. Orange, orange, plum. The next symbol is another orange. It advances through all three.